Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the opening round for Beauty and Discovery versus Starman in the Blue Moon Tournament. Tonight, I'm joined by Kurant. Kurant, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's it's going to be, I think, quite a great evening. Of course, obviously, any evening where we have free enterprise is a good one. We have a whole bunch of races tonight. It's an absolute metric ton. So it's been fun what I've been able to see so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Beauty and Starman go at it tonight.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Yeah, this is where right at the start of tournament seasons really kicked into gear. We did have some play-ins last week because our brackets ended up being greater than 32 players and 64 players. But, we're really kicking into gear now. And yeah, a lot of races, a lot of great races. Of course, no spoilers for any of that. But as far as Beauty and Discovery and Starman goes, we see a Sid start here, of course, in Blue Moon characters. It's just any 7, besides Fusoya. Fusoya has to be the starter, so no Fusoya tonight, but any 7 characters. And this pile of bosses, what do you think when you see these boss objectives on screen?
Well, it's going to be an interesting, it looks like a pretty interesting variety because I see we have 2 of the 4 fiends. We have, okay, let's see, 1 sparkle, we have 1 gauntlet, we have pretty much, this just basically was somebody just picked a random variety of bosses, I guess, and just decided to throw them at our runners because we don't have any singular theme here. So be interesting to see how all of that works out. I think we are pretty close to starting, so we should be seeing what awaits us in just a moment.
Yeah, the main thing that points out to me is that all of these bosses are particularly rude at the wrong location,
Uh-huh.
aside from maybe Paledom, but even Paledom has that rudeness of if all you have is melee, like kind of weak melee. Paledom, with that counter script of the slow can definitely eat up some time. So we'll see how our runners react to these. Depending on where they show up, some of them like the Baigen or a Kainatsu at the wrong spot, a Rubicon and like the Odin throne where the magic is off the chart. Like, yeah, could be something. But for now, we're off to the races.
All right, so we have Sid and Rydia. So I foresee some looting in our near future. We may very well have a full gauntlet at Baron.
Yeah, that blue robe, we're never quite sure. Could be the Water Hag, could be the alt gauntlet that we need. So our runners will have marked that down either mentally or I know when I race, I put like a literal notepad in front of me and just write down the Baigen spot because I have really poor memory. And yeah, so that's something to keep in mind with that Baron key. Otherwise, a Sid and a Rydia start is, it's okay. Sid can do a lot of work. And actually, Rydia with like a Leviathan, if that
Yeah.
shows up, Leviathan Orb could also do a lot of work.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see either of our runners perhaps going for any sort of watery pass check. I see Beauty is heading over to Troya, and Starman is going to go ahead and get that free character in Ordeals.
Yeah, the opening has been pretty interesting to me on these flags, both Red and Blue Moon. Of course, with Blue Moon, we have the free key item available, so we'll know that we are picking up just a Protect Ring. Aw, Edward just wants us to be safe. That's so nice of him.
Ah, oh, hello, Porum. How are you?
Porum, we we love to joke that Porum is like the lesser of white mages, but honestly, on this flag set where we know they're guaranteed hook routes because the force hook flag is on, I really love Porum. She just provides that strong utility early because she learns Berserk, and I believe Blink as well, just a bit earlier than Rosa does, and she has that exit spell, which sometimes Rosa doesn't get access to.
Right, yeah. And that definitely, if you can get that, that'll make, I don't know necessarily if it'll make looting a whole lot easier because you're probably going to do a lot of your looting early, but yeah, definitely utility is good, especially with the Forced Hook. Hi, so couple of strongman characters over on Starman's side.
Yeah, Edge and Kane. This is this is a different form of power couple. This is an early game power couple. We're just gonna
Oh
make it
yeah,
work, I promise.
oh yeah,
Edge,
absolutely.
yeah, the Neki flag means that Edge is underpowered while everybody else probably going to be stronger than their starting power kit. But I mean, Edge with like nothing and the flame spell is still pretty functional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you happen to get any of the bosses that are amenable to such things, then yeah, you could just go ahead and plow through fairly early. Beauty finding some silk webs here in one of the Troyan item shops, which is good for obviously Z, but also to try to maybe get a little bit of an edge on some of these other fights as well.
Yeah, and then Beauty also gonna kind of go about and a lot of the opening, Poison Axe for Starman in the Damsian Treasury here. A lot of the opening routing, and Gungnir on Beauty and Discovery's side in the in Watery Pass. But these are really key items we want to find. We just want some power available to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also saw, I think Sylph was also in the Domsian basement as well, so that'll, of course, be helpful for Rydia.
And Roses in this seed, Beauty and Discovering finding a heroine robe, which in Watery Pass, you're likely to loot this, almost everybody that steps in there, because of the character you're picking up. So yeah, Starman says, nah, I don't need that porn, I've got Rosa. I'm going to call her the superior white mage for this seed. See what Beauty wants to choose. Also, critically, that Cecil in Watery Pass, that is going to change a number of things about this opening.
Yeah. I think that's Beauty's second heroine robe, because I believe there was one in Troya's public treasury as well.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, so we're rich with heroine robes. That piece of armor is incredible. It is like a mini adamant armor that only only a few characters in this game can wear.
Right. Yeah, I admit I'm not sure if I can call myself a newer runner anymore. I've been here a couple of years now, but as a, let's just say, not so skilled runner, I slept on the value of a heroine robe for quite some time. I've only really started recently figuring out how valuable a heroine robe can be in the hands of, say, Rosa with a decent bow and arrows at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, the power it gives you just sort of outrageous, especially for this stage in the game. Beauty and Discovery finding both cabins and life potions, and even exits, which she's going to go ahead and buy a few of those here in Mysidia. All pretty nice items to have. That's a pretty stacked shop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with as much looting and exploring as we're going to be doing in the early going, having a few exits will save you a good, I mean, by the end of it, you're probably looking at that saving you a good 2 to 3 minutes. And we've seen some races already in these early stages of the tournament that come down to that interval or less.
Yeah, if you've ever heard, one of our wonderful memes of just like fading the antlion check, that decision ends up coming down to having access to exit or not. So it just, little things like that can kind of speed you up, especially because we won't have access to it immediately. We will eventually get access to it from Cecil, assuming we keep him, because we probably will. But yeah, so from here, I think it's going to be time soon to start doing some actual checks as we see Beauty heading straight to Antlion.
Yeah, I think both characters have pretty much all of their, or both of our runners rather, have all their characters covered. I believe Beauty got rid of Rydia for Kane, and Starman got rid of Sid for, I presume, the Cecil. I'm not sure precisely, but so we've got a little bit of difference as far as characters go. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that works out now that we are getting down to the nitty gritty of finally doing checks.
Yep. Now that we've got, we did our open looting, we definitely got a lot of good power. Ooh, Beauty and Discovery looting, that kind of out of the way Antlion chest. A lot of folks don't do it, kind of like the bottom left. You have to go up a bit. Finding a ninja sword, that'll be great for Edge. Those are very expensive to buy normally.
Right. I believe those are what, 66K?
Yeah, very expensive.
Oh.
And yeah, I think what's interesting about this opening and these characters, Rydia could certainly function as a good anchor, to be honest, since we've got a lot of power and everyone else. Though with the heroine robes, you almost don't immediately need it. And Kane high rolled with a flame spear as his starting Neki weapon. It's honestly a pretty good weapon. You can use it as the fire spell against a couple bosses, makes that pretty good.
Yeah, I think with what we have right now as far as equipment, particularly for Kane and Edge with that ninja sword, yeah, I think Beauty would be fine to not really have to worry about those heroine robes right now. Oh, hi, Elements. How are y'all?
Not quite the robe we were looking for, but happy to know that these are out of the way. Element's the wrong spot. Honestly, Elements at the hook route particularly end up being really nasty. But yeah, Edge with, I think that must be an Ice Claw, just says, yeah, Ruby, get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we got 2 of the 4 rogues out of the way, just not quite the 2 of the 4 that we need to see.
Did the Sand Ruby like crystallize in a way and turned into more a more solid metal? We've gotten the Adamant Rock out of our Antlion check.
Yeah, I guess it sat in the cave a little bit too long. It's gotten another million years or so of geological pressure.
It just brought my brain to like Chrono Trigger for some reason. I guess just like the idea of, long-term time passing.
Yeah. We'll sit it in the cave in 65 million BC and then come back in the future. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. All right, BeautyInDiscovery finding Dark Knight Cecil training in the waterfall. Not one of our bosses we're hunting, says, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, Starman had dug Cecil, or at least had seen Cecil in the waterfall and decided to just go ahead and let him keep taking a bath. So Beauty doing the same, of course, because we don't really need Cecil, or we don't need Boss Cecil in this one at least. We don't need Boss Yang either.
That's amusingly thematic.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going next? Good on BeautyInDiscovery for checking Hobbs. This is a check that has become very easy to forget about. I've done it in my practice, and many of us have done this in our practice, and I think it has come up in a couple of these tournament races as well, so definitely good on him for checking. Honestly, Hobbs, I mean, Maga Sisters are there. They're kind of annoying to fight. I don't blame him for resetting, but sometimes it's nice, I think, to take the Hobbs check just for the experience, because it is a good amount of it for the early game.
Yeah, I think it would be especially valuable for Iridia right now, because having seen the Sylph that we have, you get that experience for Iridia. Iridia is then immediately able to use that, and that, of course, obviously the animation takes a bit, but that would become the best source of healing you have for a pretty fair bit of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Another way that Starman might go with that Rydia is to anchor with her instead, and if he goes in that way, because he's got the White Mage and then he's got the power from other characters.
Right.
But I do like a Sylph Rydia, because that can then turn into a Leviathan Rydia, and Leviathan is wildly powerful. Meanwhile, we have
that
found
Ice Claw's about to do some good work again.
Yeah. Now Ruby does have to open his cloak first in order to gain the bit of I am weak to ice, so he's not quite there yet. So the punch didn't do what we would want, but as soon as we get over, and yeah, we see guarding over to Edge now. Edge is going to take one swing here after Rosa goes, and Ruby is about to be one shot. Yep, there we go. 1200 to the dome. See you later, leg.
And I was going to say, skip past the dialogue too, so no returning
yeah,
for Ruby.
It's his 10%, I think, if he has health left. He he gets the I lost now script. Always a fun one. All right, finding a rat tail in Fabul Defense. This is a check that runners like to fade, by the way, and I'm really happy to see both of our runners just going ahead and doing this. I find the value of fading this decreases on this flag set, because once you find darkness, it sort of becomes a boss hunt, and you get drawn to the moon pretty easily, making Sheila 1 a more common fade. Not always, of course, and then it's also the boss check, so we know that this boss is taken care of here, and that rat tail, we are guaranteed a hook to get underground, so we will be able to turn that rat tail hopefully into something of value.
Yeah, that would definitely be what our runners would want to see. Of course, obviously, we have still at least 3 things we can check before we get to that point, because of course we've got Ordeals, we've got Baron in, and we have that Twin Harp that's been sitting in their inventory since moment 1, so that's always something to think about as well.
I think Starman heard us, went ahead and gave us the Ruby script.
Well, we appreciate it, Starman.
I'm sure he doesn't. It does slow you down a bit, but
No.
I'm really curious if Beauty is going to be interested in this poem or not.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
figure
it says
so,
no. Yeah. I already gave Rosa some experience. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, Beauty checking the Texas chest, finding fire armor there. So that actually kind of comes in handy for, well, mostly Kane and Sid.
Wait, the Texas chest?
Oh, that's what I just call it, because if you look at the shape of that promontory, it looks a lot like the state of Texas. So that's just what I call it.
I'm gonna remember that. That's amazing. I love that.
That's what I get for being weird geography history guy.
Well, speaking of geography, up on this mountain we have found boss number 2, Baigen, in a thankfully rather kind location. The
Yes.
Ordeals 1 spot's not very difficult.
No. If it had been Ordeals 2, that'd be a little bit more of a problem just because of the back attack and him being able to hit you with all 3 of those parts. But yeah, this part, stage 1, yeah, not so bad. I have a feeling that Beauty is relieved now and Starman will be relieved in just a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That back attack is certainly doable, but yeah, I mean, even the vampire that one of those arms do at the back attack could chunk you for a good, like, 300, 400 damage. It's no joke. Beauty taking a smart save here, swaps the party ordering around, getting ready for a back attack. And it is...
A Mylon! And friends.
And friends. The party, it's like... This always makes me think like, hey guys, we're late to the party, we're here. Because we just like moved one spot.
Yeah, we missed our spot at the front of the bridge, now we're just gonna go to the back. We're just going the back door.
Edge with that flame queued up. So this is where I was saying Edge with like no weaponry at all is still amazing at many bosses. Flame able to clean up these zombies super easily. Really the only party member that can do this right now.
Yeah,
it's gonna save these runners a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this boss, Calcabrina, at least the split form, the split of Mom Bomb, that flame can do some pretty good work on all of those.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, from this point, we've got Ordeals, and Baron in that Twin Harp, so no idea where that hook is just yet.
Yeah, and we haven't seen anybody like, say, Valvalis, which would indicate that the underground route is not there, because Val cannot gate the only access to underground, so no giveaways in that sense either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, while our runners are both going through this Mylon and Friends fight, I'll take a quick chance to shout out the Restream team. Of course, I'm joined here by the one and only Courant. Super happy doing comms with you. We've got Neon Gray doing the restreaming, getting the feed straight to your eyeballs through your monitor, and we've got Judge Joe doing the tracking. Always the most difficult job, in my opinion, by the way. So give all these folks a follow and your thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We just get to sit here and talk about what we're seeing, and they're the ones that actually have to keep track of what we're seeing. So,
right,
yeah, definitely much appreciated. And yeah, I know we were obviously talking before we got started, trying to figure out if you and I had worked together before, but it's definitely been a lot of fun working with you as well, and I appreciate that opportunity too. So,
yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Likewise, friend. All right, Ordeals has a pass, which I always love to see early.
Yeah.
That kills a lot of awkward questions about when runners want to go to the moon. Though it also incentivizes some earlier moon plays, so there's some interesting, there's some interesting play there. Like sometimes when you get a pass, like you're really incentivized to try to get your last boss in the lunar subterranean so you can just finish the seed there. But when you have the pass, it's a lot more viable to like go down there, get one of your bosses, and then have to come back up.
Right. Well, Beauty making quick work of Dr. Dialogue here. A powerful edge can do a lot in that vein, certainly.
Yeah, another great use of that flame.
Yep. I expect Starman will probably achieve a similar result, I would figure.
Yeah, plus that heroine Rosa anchoring, making Luge super duper slow. Yeah, for sure. Now here's something I'm going to be curious about. We've got a Cecil in this seed. On the T Wildish flag set, currently Eblin is insanely overpowered. It's outrageously overpowered. The chance at a Holy Sword out of those trap chests is something like 80%, I want to say, out of 3 hits. I'm really curious to see if both of our runners are going to go take on the Eblin lottery, and when they want to do it, if they want to try it immediately or if they want to kind of delay. So I'll be curious to go see where both of them go from here.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor, especially like you said with the Cecil. If it were me, I would be doing it after I finished the remaining checks here, because at least just in my own thought, I wouldn't think that I was quite powerful enough to handle that yet. But then again, that might just be the inexperience talking in me.
I think you can go either way. The earlier you do the traps, the more difficult they are. But I guess the more rewarding the experience is.
Right.
But I think I agree with what BeautyInDiscovery is doing here. You've got the power, and there's a Wyvern. That's a little spooky. Might have mismenued there. Rosa attacks Cecil there, but okay, Edge is able to punch Wyvern down. That could have been spooky for a moment. I think Rosa with that heroine robe is fast enough, because this spot is normally actually not that slow for this level. Okay, and the Baron guards probably having swapped places. This is not a nice place to find them. Very smartly putting on Medusa arrows. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, speaking of French vanilla.
Yeah, the guards have when the guards move here, I always think like, they're going like, who's the real boss now? Because this is like air quotes free and like 5,000 air quotes if you don't have some way to take care of them. Like these Medusa arrows, which are really smart. See if the second one should absolutely work. Yep, Medusa arrows making beautiful work of these guards done.
Oh yeah. So for anybody who's not familiar, the reason why that worked as well as it did, because typically Medusa arrows are not exactly much to write home about, but the way that Beauty was doing it was waiting until right after the guards had attacked to attack them with those arrows, and that makes it to where that status effect, I'm not certain if it's guaranteed to proc, but it has a much higher possibility, and that made it to where that fight was a fair bit easier than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. It is near guaranteed, especially basically the faster that your anchor is, the more ticks of ATB that exist. With really slow cursed anchors, everybody's ATB bar is essentially 1, like from 0 to 1, and that's where it becomes kind of almost impossible to get those procs to happen. But yeah, with that fast Rosa in the center, able to take care of it very easily. And Starman going a different way, having mute arrows, it looked like, able to just take the guards down and still take advantage of the fact that the mute arrows proc mute, which means that they can't counter with mini, which would really put a damper on the DPS. So very well done by Starman as well.
Yeah, not only did it proc that mute, but because the guards are the way they are, somehow they are also weak to those mute arrows in terms of damage as well.
All right, and now both of our runners are heading into Eblin. This makes a lot of sense to me. The Twin Harp check is not super trivial, and I think both of our runners would really love to have Berserk for that Twin Harp check, that boss having 5,000 hit points. Not the most trivial early game, depending on what the boss is, so we're going to take on some trap chests and hope for the best.
It looks like Beauty is continuing with the Medusa arrow strategy here, and it is going to take care of these Mad Ogres pretty quickly, so definitely thinking very well with that status effect there. Not quite getting the life glitch, though. Wrong one.
Looks like... Yeah, looks like that. What was, since we explained about the Medusa arrows, which I loved, what is going on with trying this life glitch anyways?
So the way that this works is whenever you kill a monster, if you use a life potion on anybody... Oh, I realize why this isn't working. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. So whenever you use a life potion on anything, it revives it with I forget what the formula is, but it's reflected off their vitality. and the vitality of an enemy is by default 0. So when you use the life glitch on them, they revive at 0 vitality, which means they die again, and you get double experience, unless they're stoned, and then womp womp.
Yeah, unfortunately, life cannot revive stoned enemies. That's what was happening. Took me a moment to remember that. But yeah, exactly. And oh, by the way, Rydia, paging Rydia to the front desk. We have a Bahamut for you.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, you mentioned that Eblin Castle has the tendency to be stacked in this flag set. Holy mackerel. It's all ribbon, that Bahamut. Goodness gracious, this is a good Eblin Castle so far.
Yeah, Artemis Bow, which is just an incredible weapon, especially like Artemis Bow, Mute Arrow, Artemis Arrow, Rosa. So Artie, Heroine, Rosa is like an extremely viable Saroma Circer, by the way. Might not go that way. Also, hey, that's like Heroine Robe number 20 or something for the seed.
Yeah, something like that. I guess they're being sold for $10 a dozen over at the local value mart.
Somewhere Rivers is Rivers is having emotions. Rivers, who whenever, you know, he's kind of in and out of our community these days, doing a lot of I think vanilla speedrunning at the moment for FF4, but whenever heroine robes come up, he always brings up that, hey, remember that heroine robes are only tier 5, which out of you know, the 7 tiers is pretty sometimes it's a little outrageous, but also really good. I think it's well balanced because there's really not that many people who can wear them, but I missed what was in that second box. I bet chat will have our back here.
Starman finding the Staleman skeleton, or the Staleman skull fight in the pot that, to be perfectly honest, I did not know was actually an item spot in this area until probably at least a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, there are a number of... Okay, that was a glass hat, I think? That went by very quickly on BeautyInDiscovery's side. Good piece of armor, not exactly what he wanted. And then, yeah, the Staleman being the last one. And yeah, there are a number of pots. There's always like the 2 pots. There's Dwarf Castle has 2 towers, and out of like 24 pots on either screen. And there we go. That's a crystal sword. That's the payoff.
Yep, there's our stick.
There it is. We're good. We don't need to open another single box in this game if we don't want.
Yeah, pretty
Time
much.
to zoom, zoom.
Yep, because we've got good stuff for Rosa. We've got the stick for Cecil. We've got already found good stick for Kane. At least one good stick for Edge. We've got Bahamut for Rydia to just blarg the world. Yeah, I think our runners are pretty much good to go.
Yeah, and I think this is... I think scenes like this actually end up being pretty exciting for me because, yeah, we have a lot of power now, which should get us through a lot of checks, but we've still got kind of a potentially rude hook route to get through. I think neither of our runner may have a really proper anchor setup. I'm not sure if I've seen a cursed ring. I don't think I have.
I've not.
Yeah, and these seeds end up testing you on your ability to go as fast as possible, you know, with all the tools that you're given. And I think that could be really interesting to watch.
Right, yeah. I mean, obviously, of course, with a boss hunt like this, you know, we're still looking at how are you going to route it? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to find those key items? So there's obviously still plenty to it, but the gear is no longer an issue, I think, for either of our runners.
Yeah, the gear is absolutely settled, and Starman will be able to take on. Starman will be able to use that Bahamut. It's got Rydia in his party. I have to imagine BeautyInDiscovery might not go back to pick up that Rydia who has no experience, unless he wants an anchor at this point.
And it looks like since he's leaving that Sid down, I think Beauty is going to use the Sid as an anchor. At least that's my thought anyway.
Yeah, he's certainly functional as one. He could use a Dwarf Axe to make him a little bit better, but with the Heroine Robe and these other party members, everyone's pretty fast, so Sid is going to be pretty functional for that role.
Yeah.
Chat call. Chat talking about silver gear. Zeromus is in a spirit, but Zeromus is weak to burr. Cracks me up.
Yes, indeed. Yes, Zeromus is weak to the big pointy stick.
I think everything in this game is weak to burr, except maybe Golbez for a brief moment. It's got to give you his comedy routine first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Misty is at least less problematic to burr because resistant to holy, but that's about it.
Even that, I mean, a crystal sword is still like half of a crystal sword is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's just 1 R instead of 3, but it's still plenty of burr.
Just burr. It's a little burr. It's a baby burr.
And welcome to everybody coming in from the Free Enterprise stream from RPG Limit Break. Hi everyone, welcome to the Beauty and Discovery Starman match here on Free Enterprise. Y'all got here just in time for Muzak, so I probably should stop talking pretty soon, I would figure.
Yeah, this is probably the part where we talk less and let music go on more. Oh, Rosa trying to take herself out. There's a way to save time in this cutscene so that like you don't have to wait for all these spells by either having all your characters magnetized or dead, but Rosa with a heroin robe is pretty well armored, so not able to take herself out. But yeah, this is the part where we play one of, I don't know, some hundreds of randomized songs at this point, so please enjoy. That just brought me back to my childhood. Like sneaking in the middle of the night to my to my TV and dungeon crawling in Zelda 1 with the dungeon theme from that game.
Oh goodness, I imagine that would, especially if it was like in the middle of the night and you don't have any other lights on aside from the TV and the Nintendo. Oh yeah, I imagine that would have been very atmospheric as a kid.
Yeah, it was pretty spooky, and I was like, I don't know, 8 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe probably a little older than that actually, but still.
Yeah. I was gonna say, interestingly enough, I actually never beat Zelda 1 until I want to say probably about a year or so ago.
I'm not surprised. That game is outrageously difficult. Like, outrageously difficult. I think I only got through it by like calling the Nintendo Power Hotline, which was a thing that existed that cost real money that my mom really did not appreciate me doing. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah, especially now.
Oh god, I'm sure it doesn't exist anymore. I'm sure people these days would be like, wait, there was the hotline? Like, what? Anyways, Twin Harp was our, we had to go through it. That was our way to the hook, which that rat tail had the pan behind it, which I don't know if Starman actually picked that pan up or not. It'll be pretty good. It's always nice to see that pan early, right? Because you end up getting pretty incentivized to turn that in.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely save Beauty some time as far as trying to go through some of the underground once Beauty gets there. And Starman, I think, probably will appreciate it as well.
We're all growing old. Some folks in chat calling out that they used to work for that hotline. Yeah, I remember them being very helpful and probably dealt with a lot of kids like me.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Anyways, hook routes. We always have to do them on these flags.
Yep.
Isn't that neat?
Yep. Looks like we get to make some sushi through the hook route.
Some fried calamari, or I guess it's more like yeah, sushi's a good way to put it. Unless we put that Bahamut to use.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Looks like Starman's looking for a little bit more experience, or maybe I honestly might have just wanted a couple of chests and just sort of happened to luck out. You know, luck might be in air quotes to just hit the trap here. Same for Beauty and Discovery taking on the Staleman, but also you've got all this power, like these traps will go down very quickly. See what we get here. Protect ring number 2 for Beauty. It's okay. Protect ring is pretty good piece of armor.
Yeah. I will say I'm a little surprised that when Starman taking on these Mad Ogres, that Starman's not trying to life glitch any of them.
I imagine at this point he's just like, yeah, I don't need to do it. Because it does take some time, right? Like animation time to throw those life potions. Yeah. And if you haven't bought life potions, you only start with the 10. Rose is the only one that can cast heal. I think it's pretty reasonable to not do it when you feel that you're strong enough, and they certainly will feel that way because of that crystal sword. Also, nice of Starman to pick up the Murasame, which Beauty will as well, because Starman did not find that ninja sword in that out of the way outline chest. So his edge kind of had nothing until this moment.
Yeah, I think just had that Ice Claw.
Oh, and chat correcting me, thank you. Yeah, you start with, I forgot, it's two kits that have life potions on the Blue Moon flags. I apologize. I still think like not throwing life potions, that could just kind of take some time and you feel strong enough anyways. So yeah, Octomam will not be too bad for this team. Octomam is hilariously resistant to Holy. I guess they just thought it would be thematic to do that because Octomam's weak to the darkness element, so that Dark Knight Cecil can be the hero in those fights, or in that fight. But like we were saying earlier, half power Crystal Sword is still, like, it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're able to get off of Berserk on, well, really Cecil or Edge at this point will be hitting that poor little thing pretty hard.
Yeah, if we've got a Thunderclaw, which I think I might have seen on Starman's side, actually Edge will really be the Rockstar heal, able to take care of his Thunder weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Starman equipped it, but I did see it in that inventory. And hi, Objective, how are you?
This is one of our objectives in Paladin. I believe somebody found a Dragoon Spear, I want to say, which would be ridiculously good against this Paladin, who is a dragon. However, like we were talking about earlier, almost everything is weak to Burr.
Yep.
And Paladin's not going to have a good day.
So now the question, I guess, on at this point Starman's side, do you just go straight at Calamari or do you go back and save?
I
Since
would
we
go
did
straight
it.
at Calamari personally because the Cecil's pretty well armored, and Octomam, once you start attacking it, like it's sort of vanilla location, will lose kind of tentacles over time and will slow it down. So the fight ends up becoming pretty safe. You just have to manage it at the very, very start.
Yeah.
Beauty taking on his Paledum fight. Throws a Silk Web, wants this to go a bit safer, which I honestly don't blame him. This is the King Queen Eblin spot. It punches incredibly hard. King Queen Eblin were not meant to have a physical offense stat, so the devs were like, I don't know, let's just max it out, it's fine.
Yeah, let's just give it 255 attack. I'm sure they won't notice.
Boardface, our wonderful designer of this and dev of this randomizer, said, "You know what? Let's just go with that."
Yeah.
There are a number of spots in this game that are like that. Add some interesting challenge to the randomizer.
It does indeed, yes. Especially if you are, or if you're fighting, say, a Valvalis that magically gets maximum magic resistance pretty much most everywhere on the map, or various other bosses that suddenly punch like they're a combination of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and Sugar Ray Leonard, then yeah, it's fun times.
Yep. Some spots also having incredible magic attack because, like at the Val spot, that spot's supposed to be able to land a stone efficiently. Same for like the Evil Wall at the Luca Cave. I think they tuned the magic attack stat up, cranked it really high so that the counter, the reflect petrifies would always land. But yeah. Starman decided to do kind of what I thought he might with that Rydia there. Rydia did gain some experience, and it's actually pretty smart now that I think about it, because the warp glitch is on for Dwarf Castle, and that Rydia learns warp pretty quickly, so she's set up to be able to utilize that warp glitch, which actually Beauty and Discovery won't be able to do, not having a black mage in his party at all. Compared to Beauty, who is, like we talked about earlier, went ahead with that Sid anchor.
Tall Grant asking in chat, where did we find the pan? The pan was the rat tail check, which Beauty has done. Starman did not check that yet. And welcome to everybody from Free Enterprise 3 rating. So welcome to the Beauty Starman match tonight on Free Enterprise. Hope y'all had a great race as well, and don't spoil nothing, please.
Yep, no spoilers. If it was an amazing race, go ahead and say so. We heard that from the last one. From, I think, RPG Limit Break. Sounded like that was a pretty good race. But yep, no spoilers. Just welcome to this. We have Crystal Sword, we've got a Ninja Sword, we've got a Murasame, we've got like 10 Heroine Robes. We are cranked. We've cranked the power to 11 on this seed.
Yeah, our characters have found themselves quite a lot of great gear, including a Murasame sword for Edge that we picked up here in the Upper Babel. So definitely this party is geared and ready to go. Now it's just a question of finding all the rest of the bosses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we found 3 of them already. Starman showed us that it was a Sparkle at top of Lower Babel. We are not hunting a Sparkle of these 5 bosses that are left, so unlikely to see that unless we need to go there for a Darkness Crystal. Lots of other key items to check. It's now about finding those bosses and about finding critically the Darkness Crystal and any other key item that gates a lot of bosses like the Baron Key or the Earth Crystal.
Yep, there is a possibility that one of the bosses that we are looking for is in Baron, because we saw a blue robe at the beginning of this seed. We're just, of course, not sure which blue robe it is yet.
Yep, could be Water Hug, could be the Alt Gauntlet, which I think that one features Senator Crocodile. It's one of our beloved memes. I actually don't remember why it's Senator, why the Crocodile's a Senator, but I always love that one.
Jabrun continuing with the theme of everybody in chat and on commentary showing our ages by taking a white shirt and turning it into the plain white tees.
That's a good one. So Starman finds, I think that was a Valvalis on the left and a red robe on the right. The Dark Imps are free. We have hourglasses in the Fey March here. Ninja swords, which we were talking about, wildly expensive, but you know, when we've got the money, that's a great. So Starman is at equipment parity with Beauty as far as weaponry goes, and Starman says, you know what, no, I'm good. I'm willing to fade the Fey March. Don't need to take on the freebie Dark Imps. Just gonna go try to find my Darkness Crystal elsewhere, and honestly, don't blame him. Oh, because he's part of the Baron Senate. But wait, why is there a Senate with crocodiles in it? I know they're from the sewers, but I need the deep lore here, Scala. Sorry, I'm talking for our YouTube friends, our chats helping enlighten us with the Senator Crocodile deep lore.
I was going to say, I also wasn't aware that Baron was a parliamentary monarchy.
I know, right? They have a general who is made of snakes. Okay. Baigan, okay, that's fair. I've never considered this, but that's incredibly fair.
So it's a reptilian it's a reptilian parliamentary monarchy then. My goodness, that's a mouthful.
Exactly. Reptilian, parliamentary, yeah, that's
monarchy.
That's a lot of words. Monarchy. Okay, we got
I was about to say democracy, but it's not a democracy with a king on the throne.
Not really. No. Meanwhile, Dwarf Castle, vanilla dolls.
Yep.
It's always cute.
And Tall Grant's pulling out the Indiana Jones quips, so yep, showing the age again.
That also brings my mind to the Snakes on a Plane movie with the quote, "I cannot say on air," but just, the movie cracks me up. Leviathan in the Golbez spot, also not one of our bosses we're hunting. Dwarf Castle still, of course, is a key item that could be of value, and Starman critically will have access to that warp spell, which will glitch us into the vanilla Darkness Crystal room in the Luca Cave, which could be a key item that leads to a boss. I'll be very curious about that one.
Yeah, it could be the Darkness Crystal. Which I think, considering that chat is already starting to go a little nuts about is this even, I am a little scared to see the eruption if that ends up being the case.
Wait, Scala, that's so perfect. These monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. Snakes on a plane.
I never did actually see that one.
I think I only experienced it through trailers, I'm going to be honest. I might have seen parts of it. Oh, that's actually the censored line when they play it on cable. Okay, I got it.
No.
It's pretty good. I thought you just like came with up with that on the fly, and I was like, wow, that's really good.
So, given that we got a Gungnir Spear out of the dwarf chat, does that mean that we're going to try to get Kane to dual wield now?
To do a what now?
To dual wield.
Oh, to dual wield. Oh, if only. Wait. There's a feedback and ideas. Idea brewing that. I guess, okay, you can dual wield in, sorry, it's the Omni, whatever it's called, Wacky Flag, where everyone can equip everything.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
So yeah, not unfortunately the value. Yeah, omnidextrous. Yeah, so unfortunately not the value we wanted out of Dwarf, but we're gonna see if that warp glitches anything. We're gonna hope for beauty's sake that it isn't something that's gonna block him from further progress. It's always that interesting wrinkle about the warp glitch, especially when the Luca key shows up and then you have a boss that you theoretically could fade or not. It's interesting.
So Beauty using these sirens that we saw in the Dwarf Castle item shop to go ahead and get some levels. I'm not sure necessarily if Beauty's looking for anything specifically as far as spells, but probably just trying to get a little bit of security for going down into the Fey March and potentially taking on the bosses down there.
Yeah, I actually like this play quite a bit. When there's this idea of putting off the Fey March for a little bit because you can do a little bit other things, try to find maybe more to do in the underground, and then if you could take on a few sirens and get, we might want Cure 3 or Cure 4 in Rosa, we might just want a few more multipliers, a little bit more health. I think I just saw the 3 in Beauty and Discovery's inventory, unless I think you start with a few and there might be more in there. Yeah, he finishes with just a couple of them. They're just quick and easy to do, and kind of the earlier you gain like such a pile of experience, the kind of like more you get out of it. So it kind of makes sense to just take a couple on right now.
Yeah, that's understandable, definitely.
And we'll set him up pretty well for taking on many Fey March fights. I have to imagine he won't be interested in that Valvala set, even for endgame parties. It's just a little annoying. But those Dark Imps with the hourglasses that he'll find in the shop here might be interested in that, whereas Starman faded it.
Yeah, now we're... Oh, hello. Well, Baron Key's not a key item per se that we might need, depending on what that blue robe is, but it's definitely good to have and go ahead and check.
That could be huge. So I was talking about this disparity between having the warp glitch access or not, and the Baron Key is blocking, sorry, the Baron Key at the Beigen spot has that blue robe in it, which could be Alt Gauntlet, it could be Water Hag. It's sort of a 50-50 right now, but
Yeah.
we don't know where the Luca Key is, so we don't know in logic where this Baron Key lies. It could very well be that the Luca Key is up on the moon. That might be worst case scenario if Baron has things of value here, so that could be very bad for Beauty and really, really, really good for Starman. It really just depends on what's up Baron.
Yeah. And it looks like Starman's about to go ahead and do that rat tail check. Probably there will be forehead smacks whenever the pan is revealed, but all the same, though, yeah.
Yeah, he might be a little sad to find this pan here, but like the odds of this exactly being the pan, not super amazing. So yeah, I don't blame him for kind of fading it until now. Meanwhile, Beauty is going to take on that Dark Imp fight here, so we've got some very interesting divergence. Dark Imps are going to get 3 punches out, just kind of take almost everybody out, but now they're done. They're not going to move anymore, so we can like pick people up and take them out at our leisure. Could have the Darkness Crystal. That might be best case scenario for Beauty. The other thing about this Baron check is that it could be. We like to talk about these key item chains and in this randomizer, and sometimes they don't lead to good places. There is also a world where this Baron key, all 3 bosses are misses, and that it doesn't have any key items we care about. Might be unlikely, but those worlds do exist, so it's not necessarily yet a positive for Starman. It's just sort of, it's a big question mark at the moment.
Oh no. I mean, black shirt's not a bad thing to have, but definitely not a key item that you want to, or definitely not an item you want to see in place of a key item.
Yeah, nobody in Beauty's team can wear it, but that's okay. I think if I were a runner, I feel like most people would take on that freebie check since you're given the tools to take it on. So I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Not too much time lost having checked it, but
right.
Boon to Starman, who, unless that Val has something required, may likely never step foot in that Fey March again. Able to save that time.
Oh, well, Water Hag on the blue robe, so I guess, at least as far as what we know coming from Baron, that's a womp. But obviously there are 2 more possibilities here.
Crocodile and the entire Reptilian Senate are not on the table quite yet.
And Beauty has a darkness crystal out of the pan bonk.
Right, very good. Starman will eventually take on that pan bonk.
Right.
Even just the the first part of it, it's a pretty quick check. And when you're hunting for darkness, like eventually, and by eventually I mean probably pretty soon, there's not going to be much left to do. So I imagine Starman's going to end up getting that pretty soon. But nice to see it. And this is interesting. Beauty is going to go ahead, save Scum at Mysidia, and then go ahead and turn in Sheila 1 and 2. And if neither spot has something of value, we'll be able to warp right back to Mysidia.
Yeah. Starman's Baron play, the value of it is still to be determined, because obviously, the key item could potentially unlock a boss that is in this list, but it's still unclear at the moment. Sheila 1 doesn't pan out to be much. Oh, neither did. Oi.
Save Scum validated.
Uh-huh.
Save Scum absolutely validated. I was just thinking, like, I don't think I would do it because you're pretty unlikely for both of those to be a miss, but I mean, it happened, and
yep.
That saves him, honestly, a really good amount of time here. Able to just walk right in now and raise the Lunar Whale.
So Lord Goober asking how garbage was it. The two items were Crystal Helmet and a Moon Veil, so...
Sheila literally, like, pulled the lint out of her pockets and said, like, here you go.
Yeah. So would you like these...
Yeah, would you like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, would you like this this bag of Rice Krispies I've had in the pantry for approximately 3.5 years?
It's like opening that junk drawer that a lot of us have, or at least I certainly have in my kitchen, where it's just like random paraphernalias down there, and she just like pulled out the two first things that she got her hands on and said, like, here you go. Just a Pinktail at Baron. Pinktail often a very good key item for power, but we've got honestly all that we need. Kind of a miss. Happy to have, items towards that 10 key item double EXP bonus, but this Baron Throne really has to have value, or Starman will have actually been put on a kind of a wild goose chase for having that warp glitch.
Yeah.
All right, that's a boss that we need. That's a Golbez, Laughing Man down in the Odin throne, practicing his art. It is very dangerous magic at this location. This is actually very spooky. Starman is not well set up for this.
Yeah, especially not being healed. This could very well be a bit of an issue.
Now, I want to say there was a ribbon found. Yeah, I want to say there was a ribbon found. So Rose is already wearing the heroine robe, which protects from paralysis. And if she's also wearing the ribbon, then she's protected from instant death. And in that case, then Starman is perfectly well set up because Rosa can never die. The problem would be if Rosa died here, and okay, she is wearing that ribbon because we saw that Demolish go out and it couldn't take effect, which means it tried to target whoever was wearing the ribbon, which I'm going to guess is Rosa. So yeah, she's able to throw that Star Veil up now, and Golbez will pretty much kill himself off of that Star Veil alone. Really good on Starman for realizing that he was in that situation, remembering his heroine robe, remembering his ribbon, and able to kind of run with that. I also think we're about to see dueling required bosses.
Oh dear.
Over in K Value, BeautyInDiscovery has found a not very kind mom bomb waiting in the wings.
Yeah, that's a rough spot.
Yeah, chat calling out about that moon veil actually would be pretty clutch against that mom bomb.
Mm-hmm.
K Value is one of those spots that the dev said, yeah, this spot never punches. We'll just crank its physical spot, to like the moon. wow. Oh dear.
Yeah, the boss is good, the item, not so much.
Starman gets to say, oh my god, yay, we can get underground now. Wow.
Woohoo!
Value.
We have our
Golbez at Baron having the magma key. Yay.
Yep. That just means you can drop it down the well and get a lovely piece of text.
No, Starman is, I think Starman is saying words that are not safe for Restream right now. Or I certainly would be, because that all ended up being a vast waste of time. Unfortunate. Rando gonna rando sometimes, and when it does, it can rando pretty hard.
Yeah. Beauty is doing a bit of King Ryu grinding down here to get some levels for the team. Definitely, if you see a mom bomb in a spot like that, yeah, I don't blame Beauty for thinking in that vein.
Oh, actually, chat's right. I got so tunnel visioned on that magma key. It was the Golbez. That's right. Golbez was the value. Golbez actually is very deeply hidden value too, really depending what that Luca key is. I do apologize. My brain's really tunneled on that magma key. It's also useful if we get to 10 key items, which Beauty certainly is not going to get to. And yeah, Beauty taking on those gold dragons, kind of, I'm sure he feels he needs to, because Mom Bomb is still a really dangerous boss to be fighting at these levels.
Yeah. Starman, if my brain is working correctly and I'm counting correctly, Starman's at 9 key items right now, so pretty close to that 10 to be able to get better experience. And
yeah, 9
is not going to find that 10th here at Sheila 1 and 2, sadly.
Yeah, 9 is an awkward spot to be at. He could go one of two ways. He could either start fishing for a 10th key item, but it would have to be basically top of Lower Babel, or the Fey March, and I don't think he's very incentivized to do that, so I think this is one of those spots where you just sort of shrug your shoulders and accept you have to go to the Lunar Subterranean with 9 key items and hope to find your 10th at, for instance, the Mom Bomb with that Moon Veil that he'll have. Okay, never mind. He also resets out of that.
I was going to say, yeah, for a second it looked like Starman was going to keep it, but no, not quite.
Yep, so, yep, to the moon. We are looking for... Our runners don't know it, but we're looking for 3 bosses now. Because we know where Mom Bomb is, we know where Golbez is. For our runners, they're both looking for... Each of them will be looking for 4 bosses. Having that many bosses still open on the table is a bit of a spooky spot to be in. You get 6 in the Lunar Subterranean total. You get the K value boss, and then you have the Giant. That's what the Darkness Crystal gives us access to.
Yeah, I was about to say, and the Giant, those 2 bosses on the Giant have to be looming, I think, in both of their minds right now.
Yeah, the other things looming in their minds are going to be gating key items, so that's the Earth Crystal especially. Though Zot 1 could have, hear me out, Zot 1 could have one of our bosses. Luca Key is very dangerous, by the way.
one of our bosses.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That may actually save Beauty time if if one of our bosses ends up being down there. Keep your eye out for that. Of course, the Baron Key coming from the warp glitch in Dwarf Castle. So now we have the actual Luca Key, so that play is in logic now. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for these gating key items, or Zot 1 could have a boss. That's always a cheeky one because you don't need the Earth Crystal for that. But package, tower key, things of that nature.
I am curious. Starman is sitting outside of Mysidia. Chat speculating that it's a bathroom break.
So this is funny. I've just talked about this recently with some friends. I never find the whale cutscene long enough for me to actually go to the bathroom. I know folks like doing that, and that actually might be what happened there, because we see Starman able to get back. And hey, sometimes you gotta go. You gotta go, and you take care of yourself and your health.
Yeah.
of utmost importance. Time for Starman to take the whale along for a ride. Gonna check out Mist Cave. Might still need to. Actually, no. I think you said earlier he saw the waterfall cave. So
Yeah.
just kind of, closing up things we hadn't seen yet. Finds the karate, able to reset, while Beauty starts taking on the lunar subterrane.
So let's see, as far as gating key items are concerned, I think only, well, the Earth and Tower keys are pretty much, well, package too. Yeah, Earth, Tower, and Package are the ones that we have left that could potentially gate bosses. Because obviously, we know where the Baron Key is.
King Queen Evelyn is a nice find here at the Murasame altar. Always nice to see them hanging out on the moon. Able to take on at least one boss with peace of mind that you're not going to not going to die a horrible death. And because it's free, Beauty is incentivized to take this boss on. Also because Beauty is looking for 4 bosses, I think our runners are going to be kind of incentivized to start taking some of these moon bosses, as opposed to just face checking everything and hoping to to hit 3 of these 4 bosses on your way down.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the tensions of this boss hunt flag set is where do you stop taking bosses and start face checking? And the presence of sort of these gate items, I think, is a lot to do with when do you do that. Because, I mean, if you just face check and don't take some of these bosses, you might be losing out on a key item that gates at least one of your objectives, potentially more. So it's always that sort of tension that helps determine how our runners run, and it makes this a lot more dramatic in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes these flags. That's what makes this all boss hunt flag set pretty unique. Just a power shirt, but power shirt's a nice piece of armor for Cecil or Edge, and got the XP out of that. It was a chance at a 10th key item, at least for Starman it will be. But yeah, I think what our runners might end up doing is taking on the bosses that are free or easy or quick to take on, fading maybe some of the slower ones, face checking the rest until we've seen everything, and then if we don't get what we need, might start clearing 1 or 2 of these bosses until we get a couple of these gating key items, and then from there might gamble on those immediately, might fully clear the lunar subterrane. World's kind of your oyster at that point.
Yeah. Chad asking, why do the runners keep making Rydia take a nap? Well, that has to do with agility in this game, because the way that your character's turns are determined is based on agility, and unless there's a certain flag turned on in Free Enterprise, the agility is determined by your middle character, which in the case of Starman, and I think both characters now, is Rydia. And Rydia at low levels has pretty low agility, which makes it to where the rest of the characters are faster, because their agility is a lot higher than hers, so they can take more turns. They can get more turns on the bosses, and it makes it a lot easier to take on a lot of these bosses, especially as you get later in the game. So that's the main reason why Rydia is taking a dirt nap right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Final Fantasy IV famously is the first Final Fantasy that was on the Super Nintendo system, and it was originally meant to be a Nintendo game, I believe, and they sort of had to shift gears very quickly to make it a Super Nintendo game. They knew they wanted this ATB system in place, and this game really shows that it was their first attempt at that sort of system. We have ATB bars, much like 5 and 6. We're just not able to see them on display. And the way that it was implemented was, it ended up just being based off of Cecil, probably just as a shortcut, honestly. And so that creates some really interesting, weird technical play, kind of like what Karan was talking about here. Meanwhile, Kenatsu at the Crystal Sword altar.
Hi, Turtle.
That is one piece of our puzzle. This is our required boss.
Yep.
This is probably the kindest place you could find him. It's just got the lowest health. The ribbon room would have also been fine. It has the most health just because we could deal enough damage for the wave to not be a problem. It being based off of the the current health of Kinatsu, but Beauty's still getting off a very good nerf anyways. Very well done by him. Able to, the lightning effect, take down the wave so that Kinatsu could not activate that wave.
Yeah, Beauty did a great job of starting out with a couple of Thor Rages just to make sure that that first wave got taken care of. And now that Cecil is able to go to work with Berserk, Crystal Sword, and Edge is starting to toss those drains out, the wave is not going to be nearly as intimidating. And I think it's probably just going to get everybody berserked and just mow Kainatsu down from this point.
Yeah, and the reason this boss stymies a lot of people when he's at a high hit point location like the Rubicante spot down the hook route or like on the Giant, for instance, is because of that ATB system we were talking about. When you have a slow anchor, the way it ends up working out, technically, and I'll wait to see what this key item is, actually. And I'll kind of go into a little bit of deep dive on that. That's the Earth Crystal.
Yeah, you keep the boss anyway, but you keep that because it opens up 2 more potential bosses.
Yeah, very nice to see. Definitely dialing down to where these bosses are and opening up more of the seed. But yeah, that cannot, so... because of the way the agility works in this game, when you have a slow anchor, everybody, like the anchor is always set to like an ATB of 5 essentially, so like 5 ticks of game time. But everybody else has 1, like literally 1. Like I'm talking about like no bar filled to bar completely filled. And there's way more technicalities to that because of how it's implemented. But the way it ends up playing out is that Kinatsu says, I'm gonna raise the water like with 1 tick, and then with 1 tick, I'm gonna throw the wave. And there's really only like 1 precise moment that you can get a Thor Rage out to stop that wave when ATB is that tight. Now, if ATB were like you have a faster anchor and Kainatsu has more of like 4 ATB, which means it's like 4 ticks before it's full, then there's a lot more time while that ATB bar is filling for it to get that Thor Rage out. But because we slow anchor so many of these spots, that's why he becomes so tricky.
Thank you, Solaris, for explaining that. You explained it far better than I could have ever imagined doing so. So thank you very much.
It took me a lot of time to like try to understand why that was, and I wanted to get a chance to explain it. Hopefully not like super duper technically, but I hope the takeaway is that Kainatsu, when slow anchored, is very difficult to cancel those waves. So, Beauty did very well just throwing Thor waves, hoping to and succeeding to get it down.
All right, so Beauty face checking all the rest of the bosses here in the LST and coming up with a big Nuttenburger. So going to go ahead and exit, and I suspect, at least I would figure, probably look at this Earth Crystal.
Yeah, you could look at the Earth Crystal or you could look at the Giant. I would be much more tempted, I think, by the Earth Crystal and that Luca key. But the Giant's still looming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Earth Crystal is definitely going to be a lot faster than Giant. I mean, I think you could probably get through both of the Earth Crystal bosses together in, I would imagine, about half the time it would take to go after just the first boss in the Giant, just because of how much HP the Element spot has.
Yeah, it really depends on what's there. We know the Magus Sisters are gone, but that's any any boss with multiple units at that spot actually splits more than 61,000 hit points, which is like the limitation of the ROM. Like one single unit can't have more than that amount of health. So like CPU would have been particularly nasty to find there, but with the Crystal Sword and the power that we have, it won't take too long to get through the Element spot all told, but Zot is still the somewhat faster check. So yeah, I agree with this.
Yeah. Chat pointing out, though, that we're about to have ourselves a traffic jam at Troya because Beauty parked was it the Falcon, I think? Is the name of the airship with the drill, but parked that one at Zot, and so you have to ride the Enterprise back there to turn in that pass, then we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a slowdown on I-10.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these seeds I've played now where it's like I'm ready to finish the seed and I'm like, ah, crap, I'm parked there. You'll see the fly up there and the immediate fly back south. Like, let me just park in this forest. Or you could do the cheeky, like, park by the Chocobo forest and by outside Baron, like Chat's pointing out, and take the black Chocobo and fly that all the way up. That's also fun.
Yeah. I think I actually ran into that issue, the parking issue, in my race this week with Frankie Bones. Son of a gun! And so, yep, I had to do myself a little bit of cardio through the forests of Endor.
A little power walking through the forest.
Yep. Well,
Right,
glad to see Frankie had the same issue.
All right, well, Zot 1, not the value, only a Bahamut, not the boss we need. Could be a problem for Beauty depending on where Starman goes from here. Starman basically following hot on Beauty's heels, and the only reason that Starman is kind of a bit visually behind on this is because they were neck and neck, but Starman had that warp glitch earlier at Dwarf Castle, got the Baron key out of it, and so has fully cleared Baron, which had that Golbez in the Odin Throne, which is one of our required bosses. And the Magma Cube, which is always a funny meme. So it really depends on where Starman goes and what Zot 2 has. By the way, have you heard much about the pig meta?
Not about pig metas, no, but I have gotten the chance to see these piggies scampering off from Zot a few times, which is a little bit delightful.
It's very delightful. I love the pig. So this is the See No Earn flag. So we only have like the 7 freebie characters at the start, and piggies sometimes represent characters we could have picked up. Unfortunately, Odin, not what we were looking for. Zot could still have a key item like the tower key that leads us to a boss, but you know, we'll see. But anyways, those pigs, they actually take on the sprite color palette of either the Golbez spot or this Valvalis spot, with some like kind of interesting rules. The community's starting to try to figure out what those mean, like what the white ear piggies bosses could be versus like, I think there's an all black one, there's a ghost piggy, like, you know, it's interesting.
Now that you mention it, I do remember hearing some about that in some of the other races I've been able to watch, but I admittedly don't understand it well enough, I guess. Just because I didn't think about it when you mentioned it, so whoops. That's not what Beauty wanted to see at all.
That stings. So that was just the Sand Ruby. Sand Ruby might as well just be another Adamant Rock. It's actually even worse. Like, there's no character at the Sand Ruby, so
yeah.
Beauty having some save scum set up, decided to stay on Earth here because I think he's going to want to go down to the Luca Cave.
Yeah, I would expect that's going to be the play.
Yeah, the reason I ask about the pig meta, by the way, is because, I had just seen it kind of mentioned by some other runners. I didn't know super much about it until I looked it up a little bit. Seems to be based off of the sprites, but I remember Scala in Discord. By the way, Discord, if you're not in it, join it. It's amazing. But Scala naming that she had solved the pig meta, and she's here in chat actually giving us some good information about what those pig color sprites might be, and I think in a moment I'll read those out.
I especially like the pineapple pig.
Pineapple, is that yellow-eared? No, we have yellow-eared. Oh, what's the pineapple pig? I like pineapples. Pineapple pig equals Hawaiian pizza. Oh my god, wait, it does. That's so good.
Oh, Frankie, you might have created a monster by saying that.
I love Hawaiian pizza, by the way. Just put that out
I do
there.
too.
Sweet and salty together. Though I go for like pepperoni instead of like Canadian bacon, but you know, just like a little bit of sweet, a little bit of salty. It's very good.
Alright, so let's see what boss awaits us here in Luca. After, of course, Beauty picks up the Baron key.
Yeah, so BD will have to walk this out no matter what. If this is a required boss, major advantage, I think, for Beauty. But if it's not, then Starman very, very clearly in the driver's seat. The start looks like Starman's going to head towards that Zot. That'll be good for Beauty because we know that that's a miss, so that'll be a miss for both of them. And it's just a Dark Elf.
Yep. Well, of course, we do know that the Baron Key does have value in that basement Golbez, so like you said, definitely something that Beauty will need to walk out. And fortunately, with the power on this team, this is probably not going to be too rough of a fight.
Yeah, no, honestly, all Beauty really needs to do here is cast Berserk on Cecil and do literally nothing else. Dark Elf being weak to the Holy Element, at least by weaponry. For some weird reason, if you cast a Holy like white against the Dark Dragon form, it'll actually absorb, frustratingly enough, but the weaponry will still deal the damage it needs to. So just a couple of swings from Cecil will really take care of it here.
So I feel it's worth noting also in this instance that the Dark Elf has obliged us by giving us something that only happens in the corners of reality, and that is pigs have flown.
Perfect targeting with Kane being that piggy.
Exactly.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, back to the pig meta for a moment. So what Scala has named out. So this is for, I'm gonna name this out for our lovely YouTube folks who we know watch very regularly. We love you, YouTube folks. But since they don't have the chat, hi YouTube. So we'll say the white ear. So these are the piggy sprites. So if you see a piggy in Zot, I think that's primarily the two places in Zot. So white ear is a red sprite or a sparkle. A yellow ear is a blue or purple sprite. The Void Pig, which I think is all black, like literally all black, is either Evil Wall or CPU. The Ghost Piggy is Demist, and the Pineapple Pig, which kicked off that conversation earlier, which I think Scala said is like, white and yellow together. The Pineapple Pig means Luge.
And chat pointing out that this is actually another subtle time loss for Beauty because Beauty cannot warp out of Luca Cave while Starman will be able to.
Yeah, and Starman might be incentivized to check that Luca Cave. I actually wouldn't be surprised when he does it, but he'll be able to reset out. And even if that was a boss that he needed, he would have been able to warp out instead of having to walk it out. So yeah, just kind of small little things that are time losses, but that doesn't mean Beauty's out of it. I think it is advantage Starman at the moment, but it really, really depends on where these last bosses are. I'd say if they're on the Giant, probably more likely in Starman's lane, but there's a world that these bosses are behind like the package and the tower key.
Yeah, it is possible, and of course, we now, as we see Starman finishing up the Zot check, is going to find disappointment at the end. We know, of course, the only gating key item that's left is the gating key items, I should say, are package and tower. And they are likely, I think, actually, they pretty much have to be at this point, lurking behind one of the moon bosses that both of our runners have faded.
Yeah, they're either behind the moon bosses or they're behind that Valvalis.
Right.
In the Fame Arch.
Which is also not a very appetizing option.
No, not at all. So yeah, Starman finding disappointment.
And keeping it, I think.
Yeah, well, he's setting up a save down here. I think he's going to run over to Luca. Might even... I don't know if you do Val. I think you do Giant before that, but yeah, he's going to face check Luca here, because he just needs one boss.
Yeah.
And I think after this, we're going to see a Giant play on Starman's side, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would figure so. Yeah, I mean, because I think that would be a little bit shorter, I suppose, than going back. And I don't remember, did Starman actually see all of the bosses below Crystal Sword? Or did Starman just immediately leave after that?
I have to imagine Starman. I have to imagine Starman face-checked all those bosses.
Yeah,
he must have picked them, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, chat backing it up, so thank you. I
think we
couldn't quite remember.
I think we were deep in the pig meta at that moment.
Drat you, Wilbur.
Wilbur! Oh, it's a good movie. Speaking of piggies, I like naming this every time a monk comes. Do the package on these flags. Just once, casually, for fun. Go do the package, and then you'll get a piggy there instead of the character you would pick up, and then just talk to them. And then leave, and then come back, and then talk to them again. It's great, I promise. I just realized it's 2 hearts holding up Baron. 2 petrified hearts.
Yes, love has saved the kingdom.
It's perfect. Alright, and here's that giant play, Starman heading straight there. I gotta imagine Beauty's gonna be, gotta check this Odin Throne, get through his Golbez, but after that we'll be hot on Starman's heels. Beauty really needs this giant to not have anything, and to not go to the giant, though. We'll see, it's close, it's close.
Yeah, our options are definitely narrowing at this point.
Chow wishing the worst of things.
Oh dear. Oh.
It could be demist at the element spot, which will not have a key item, but it's still 65,000 hit points. Of D.Mist.
And hello everybody from Flossy Fern Stream. Good evening. Welcome to the Beauty versus Starman race here on Free Enterprise. It's been interesting. We've seen lots of pigs, we've seen lots of heroine robes, we've seen lots of hunts for bosses that mostly we've discovered, but not all of them yet.
We made some sushi down the hook route. We learned about why Senator Crocodile is part of the reptilian Senate monarchy.
The parliamentary monarchy of Baron.
Well, Mylan Zed is not what Starman wanted. However, Mylan Zed is something like 16 times weak to the Crystal Sword. If we could break this game past the quad 9 limit, we would be doing huge piles of damage. Unfortunately, we can't, so we can only, quote-unquote, only deal basically 10,000 a swing, but this might be the fastest that this element spot could be. We see Beauty taking on his Golbez. The frustrating but also wonderful thing about Golbez here is that he has so much spell power that if you can survive to get up a Star Veil, which Beauty was able to do, Golbez basically just takes himself out. And Beauty also discovering that yes, indeed, you can now get underground.
Congratulations, you have accessed the second 20% of the game.
The other underground? Wouldn't that be a trip? There's just like 2 undergrounds.
Yeah, guess what? There's a deeper underground where we have, I don't know, taller dwarves.
It's a little parallel universe. You just mirror it, flip everything.
Oh, hello. Hello, Gauntlet. How are you?
You've heard of grind number 1. How about grind number 2? The CPU spot having the alt gauntlet featuring, by the way, a D-Machine grind if you for some reason really wanted it. Starman absolutely does not, but you know, here we are.
And Beauty is following right on Starman's heels. So we may see dueling gauntlets.
Yeah, this is really going to come down to execution now. Beauty has to find a way, and it obviously doesn't realize that, but Beauty has to find a way to edge out small efficiencies to try to make up time here, whereas Starman, if you're a fan of Beauty and Discovery here, Starman needs to find ways to stumble a little bit. One way he might stumble, this All Gauntlet features a single D-Machine, which we've seen them all the time in D-Machine grinds, but when you have one D-Machine by itself, it will start doing its flame ability constantly if you're not doing something like Berserked up. And it also has something like 20,000 hit points. We have no access to the weak spell, and it counters every attack with a very hefty punch. It is very easy to get caught underfoot here, though I imagine Starman, a rather experienced runner, will be able to get his way through that, but yeah, here it is. Sets up the Berserk immediately, but that first fire comes out, Edge going down. Cecil's going to get Berserked, but it's going to take him like 3 or 4 of these swings here. Another fire coming out. This is already getting very dangerous. Starman, yes, very smartly remembering those hourglass is going to throw them. Really need Kane to not die here. Okay, Kane must be protected against dragons, only taking 1 damage, and now we're safe. Really clever use of that. Sometimes, when you're going as like fast as humanly possible, it can be easy to forget about some of these tools that we've had access to. So Starman remembering that hourglass in his inventory, very, very good on him.
Yeah.
Now we're a little low on health, but I think Starman's gonna be able to set up, or recover here and be okay.
Yeah, was setting up that Cure 4 to try to go off during the D-Machine fight. Was not quite able to get it in, so that a little anxious, but fortunately was able to pull out of it, and now I think should be in pretty good shape.
Beauty and Discovery getting through that Milan said. I believe what I saw of that fight, I think a minor efficiency again versus Starman. Just berserking that Cecil and doing literally nothing else. I think an Edge might have given himself an image, and that's it. Saving himself some animation time versus Starman, who I think had that Edge attacking. These are little time saves because that Cecil, deals way more damage in that fight than the Edge does. Really needs to do what he can to get this race closer and closer. I mean, we've definitely got a race in our hands here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're probably looking at, I would warrant probably I'd say 2 to 3 minute difference right now.
Yes, if that even, yes, for sure. Beauty, of course, also going to learn the great and frustrating news that this is the All Gauntlet. Let's see how he wants to handle it. All right, crystal in hand for Starman. That was our seventh boss of 8. Now, will Starman remember that he? Actually, no. I think Starman did not park. Yeah, okay. Starman's gonna be okay. It's Beauty that I'm wondering if he's gonna remember that he parked the Falcon right outside Troya. But yeah, I think we're suddenly approaching the end of this seed.
Yeah. I don't think Starman, or excuse me, I don't think Beauty's gonna have to worry about it either, because Beauty reset out of Zot and
right.
moved the Falcon away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Beauty, I think, losing a little bit of that time that he had saved with the Mylon Z fight because of pulling a D-Machine on the first fight here.
Yeah, very smartly remembering his own hourglasses, I imagine is going to throw those at every one of these phases. Will save him time, especially at the D-Machine fight. But yeah, Starman, we got the Z flags coming in hot and heavy. What's that all about?
Well, The final boss of Final Fantasy IV, Zeromus, is a load-bearing boss. He is a bit too heavy to put anywhere else in the game because he just breaks everything. He would tear the Antlion Cave to shreds. He would rip the Fabul Castle down to its foundations. So we don't move him. We just give him a new face. We put a mask on him and call it a day. So every time that we run one of these seeds, we get to see what face Zeromus is wearing tonight. So the question that everybody likes to ask, by the power of the baleful red moon, whose rear are we searing tonight, y'all?
I love that. I'm imagining a chonky Zeromus just like literally crushing the town of Baron because he's too much of a load bearer. That's incredible. Thank you for that.
Daddy on. And Scala asking, does Z have an instrument? That's a good question. We'll find out in just a second.
Ooh, new question. Oh, so one of our sprites has the survey is kind of a good meme. I'm like thinking in my brain now like a survey must number 2. There's always more questions to ask.
Wait a minute, the wrong series.
This looks like
that would be DQ3.
Yeah, DQ3. You can just tell by it's Toriyama, right? By his style.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm gonna go with not cute.
No, not cute.
This is one of those bosses. I swear, like every Dragon Quest has like these multi-phase bosses, right? I imagine
pretty
this is
much,
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember precisely how many forms or how many stages that Zoma has, but Zoma's the big bad of DQ3, so yeah, I'd expect at least 2 phases, if not 3.
Yeah, so this is the part, by the way, where we would be talking about strategy and the difficulty of this fight. That Rosa has 2,900 hit points. Starman doesn't even need to nerf this boss. I'm not sure. I think he did though, but I mean, we are like as safe as we can possibly be against this boss. I love we've kickstarted in chat a conversation about Zoma and his various phases.
Yeah, chat pointing out Necrosaro in DQ4. Yeah, no kidding. Hi, congratulations, you've killed the oh wait, he just grew another arm. Oh, then he just grew another head.
And another one. And another one.
And another one bites the dust? Sorry, couldn't resist. Alright, so Beauty swag whales down to Troya to go ahead and take on our Dragon Quest villain here. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very close finish here.
It is close. I think, unfortunately, just with all this safety, Starman would really have to go out of his way. It would have to be a big bang into Meteor as the final phase. We call that the Wombo combo. He would have to not nerf by using like a crystal or something to make Zeromus counter with a nuke and setting his spell power lower so that his big bang afterwards would be weaker. But like we're not even there. That's already the crack, the boom, and we're done. Starman, before I can even finish my explanation, is the winner of this race. Big GG's to Starman in this race.
Absolutely. GG's to Starman and GG's to Beauty as well, who is unfortunately going to come down to the Blue Moon waning category along with me, so we can maybe roast ourselves some marshmallows together. And Starman will continue on into the, I want to say, round of 32 of the Blue Moon waxing bracket. So definitely GG's to both. Starman will continue in the waxing bracket, and hopefully we'll be able to get Starman in here for an interview shortly. And speak of the Starman, here's Starman. GG, Starman.
Hello.
Hello, and GG's on your race. Yeah, you got there. How you feeling about the seed, and how you feeling about how you raced?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm very glad I kept Rydia I'll at least got ready some more, and uses of that self summon. Those helped a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about that. Can you walk us through that? You're given 7. Honestly, all 7 characters are really pretty interesting and tempting. What guided you to the party that you ultimately end up running with?
Gear options mostly. I tend to kick Sid and pour him to the curb if I have Rosa and something else available, like a better anchor available. And I tend to find Black Mage anchors actually pretty valuable just because of warp.
Yeah, absolutely. And that warp glitch was a major contributing factor here. I think actually I don't know if you and Beauty, I'm just kind of assuming Beauty's going to get through this fight, have been able to kind of chit-chat about things already, because I know y'all on a 10-minute delay, but I mean, really the difference, as we see it from here, has come down to that warp glitch.
That Baron Key came in handy.
Yeah, absolutely. So you find a Cecil in the seed, and you
I'm
head
like,
over, yeah.
And I head over to Ordeals, and then I go over to open boxes.
Were you happy to see what you find? I mean, of course you were, right?
Yeah, yes, of course I was. Cecil is like the #1 carry for the seed. Because I could not find any good edge weapons early.
Yeah, no, Beauty happened to grab like one of those out-of-the-way boxes in Antline. You know, on the left, like you go in and there's 2 boxes on the left, like we tend to fade. Like the top one of those had a ninja sword in it. You ended up buying one for yourself. Those kind of worked out, but yeah.
Yeah, I sold like a whole bunch of like things and was like, I have enough money for gear.
Yeah.
And that was like when I stopped opening boxes because I could like round out my gear slots with like things I could buy.
So yeah, I mean, you're through now, able to breathe a little sigh of relief here. Through to the round of 32, I believe, for waxing. How you feeling about your next matchup?
Actually, I don't know who it is yet. Can someone enlighten me?
Sure, yeah, I'll look that up.
Yeah, I was about to say I was going to go see if I could dig it up too. Maybe we could race and see who finds it first.
Race you there.
Oh dear, and
Cubs.
I'm falling into
Your opponent will be Cubs Rule 21. Looks like. I see Cubs hiding in chat there.
It looks like we have GG on Beauty and Discovery side, so looking like the difference between the 2 runners is going to be about 4 minutes, so GG to Beauty as well.
Yep, big GG's to him, and really a well-done race. Y'all were neck and neck. It was really pretty exciting to watch. But yeah, as far as question goes, Karan, that's kind of it for me. Do you have any?
I'm afraid I don't. I was sitting here trying to think of some as you were going through yours, and I was going to say you pretty much covered everything that stood out to me. Like you mentioned, the warp glitch, getting that Baron key early, and being able to get Golbez, in the bag early on, really did make a big difference, I think, as far as a lot of this went. So definitely just GG's to Starman, and congratulations. Enjoy the round of 32, and yeah, have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
All right, that was Starman, the winner of tonight's race. Big GG's again to him, and Beauty and Discovery has finished the seed and hopefully will be available for interview. I always love these seeds. They tend to be like, it feels kind of like a slog, and then suddenly like you just sort of blink and you're kind of there,
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like the boss hunt mechanic that we're using here in both the Blue and Red Moon tournaments really does lend itself to that a lot, because if you're able to find a good key item, if you're able to find anything that really just kind of opens up a lot of boss locations, then that really just sends things wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are joined now by Beauty and Discovery. GG's.
Thank you very much. Hope it was an entertaining race to watch tonight.
Absolutely was. Y'all were really, really neck and neck. The only thing really the only thing.
You really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll toss my GGs in there as well, Beauty. Yeah, I think the work glitch that Solaris was mentioning, that really was about the only difference in terms of time, because just about everything else, y'all pretty much were right in lockstep with each other, whether it came to overworld checks or going into Evelyn Castle to outfit your team or what have you. And it went really well, I think, obviously with the boss hunts, trying to find everything. But yeah, warp glitch, that Baron key, and getting that Golbez in the basement, it made the difference, because if Golbez had not been in the basement and that Baron key had turned to nothing, then who knows? This probably goes completely differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I probably would have taken less on the moon, stuff like King Queen Evelyn. That was a little bit of, when I was on the moon, I didn't have Earth Crystal, Baron Key, Package, Luca Key. That was a lot of gating items for bosses. So I took a few more bosses there than I would have liked. Felt great when I got the Earth Crystal. On on retrospect, probably should have done that giant first, because Crystal Sword, Cecil, and Hourglasses made that giant relatively free, but I thought Zot would be easier, and alas, it was double Zonk and not even a key item at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. To my mind, sort of becomes a coin flip at that point, right? Like either of them certainly could have had value, and just sort of went the way it did.
Hey, what better grind than an alt gauntlet with 10 key items at CPU? I was laughing. I'm like, how often do you see 4K on Cecil? Like, I didn't even check my levels. They must have been like well into the 50s, maybe even 60s. It was ludicrous.
Yeah, well on you for remembering those hourglasses, by the way. That single D machine in particular is no joke.
Oh, that's absolutely why I bought that many. I really dislike the alt gauntlet, and it has got me in trouble in quite a few locations. So I always try to make a point of grabbing a few extra hourglasses, because they'll save your butt.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Also, speaking of saving the butt, I don't think I've had Medusa arrows be so clutch in any race or any seed ever. Like, they really did work for me today.
Yeah, we called that out early game. Did you figure out why, by the way, that the life glitch wasn't working out?
It took me a moment, but I'm going to assume it has to be a physical attack that kills them. It can't be swoon or turn to stone or anything like that. I don't know for sure, but that's got to be my guess, because it's the only thing I can think of that was kind of preventing it.
Yeah, sure. So it's the stone effect. It's because they're turning to stone, so the life can't take a stone enemy back to life. So any other death effect would have worked out there. Actually, took me a moment too. Chad had to point out, be like, oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, you were able to make great use out of that against the Baron guards at Baron and 2, and then all of the Eblin Castle. So yeah, very well done.
Thank you. And also just an absolute dearth of archer gear. What was it? 3 Artemis bows, 3 heroine robes. I should have just taken the Porum and the Rydia and just had them shoot things all night.
We did joke there was something like 20 heroine robes in the seat or something like that.
Well, I think it was 2 in Watery Pass. I was laughing out loud. I couldn't believe it when that second one came from behind the Cecil.
Yeah, tier 5, by the way. All right, so yeah, not your night, unfortunately, but you're not out of the tournament yet, quite yet. Still have another shot at it. How you feeling about things in the waning bracket?
Feeling good. I like we were saying earlier, the warp glitch, it's a bit of a misstep. I know about it certainly, and I usually execute on that one, but it got me in the end. So I still feel pretty confident that in future races I'll be able to run them well. Just didn't work out tonight, and hopefully I'll be able to execute a little better in the waning bracket.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love the attitude you're kind of showing in display here. I think it's really great to take these things in stride. Not everyone wins every night, and I've certainly had my share of rough nights. Actually, Starman knocked me out of Lolly Ho League, I think. So yeah, a really great attitude there to rally forth for the next one.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is just try and learn from it. I still am learning so much, and weird things like, for example, the turn to stone. I won't forget that anytime soon, because I'm like sitting here like, what is going on with my life? But you got to take the positive with the negative and find a way to improve.
That's right, absolutely, and then we're real big on that in this community. But yeah, with that, that is it for me. Kurant, do you have anything else for Beauty and Discovery?
No, I think I mentioned everything that stood out to me in regards to really both runners in the seed. So yeah, just again, toss out my GGs. You get to Beauty, you get to join me in the waning bracket. We can go roast marshmallows together or something. and hope that we can continue on in this tournament, as we'll both be sort of fighting for our lives next week. But yeah, GGs,
absolutely.
and good luck to you as you go forward. And hopefully we'll get to see each other's names going a little further in the brackets as we move along.
As I was saying, maybe we'll run into each other and be playing against each other if all goes well. But I want to say GG again to Starman for a wonderful race. The Better Racer won tonight, and thank you very much to yourself, Kron, Judge Joe, for commentary, Neon Gray for the restream, and Judge Joe for pushing those buttons. Really appreciate the effort and work that goes into the restream, and putting on a great show tonight.
Yeah, of course. You're the one who put on a great show. Thank you for allowing us to restream you. And yeah, it was a pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. You all have a good night.
You too.
You too. All right, just like that, Kurant. I think that's it for the evening for us.
Yeah, for folks on the West Coast, it is literally the end of the evening because it's about midnight. So I think let's. I think we can pretty safely put everybody to go ahead and let things go and let everybody get to bed tonight. But thank you all definitely for coming out and watching us tonight. Thanks for everybody from seemingly every free enterprise community in the history of ever rating us tonight. So definitely is much appreciated. Make sure, if you haven't already, go follow our runners, Beauty and Discovery and Starman Random. And of course, thank you to everybody on the restream team who helped out tonight. Solaris put up with my nerdy and very southern jokes tonight.
Oh, it was
Judge
such
Joe,
a pleasure.
yeah, good. Judge Joe pushing all the buttons and making sure that Possum didn't get anywhere near them to eat them, and Neon Gray with the restream so that we would have something to talk about and y'all would have something to watch. So definitely very, very much thank you to everybody involved tonight. Thank you to everybody for coming out, and especially everybody who helped out throughout the day, because I think there were 13 races.
There were a lot of races today. Actually, I think today was 5, but all of them were restreamed. Yesterday was like something like 12 or
Yeah,
13 of them. There are a lot of
yesterday might have been
races
the
going on
13.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
still,
yeah.
definitely everybody who's been helping out, very much appreciated. And I know the admins are probably far more aware of that than I could ever possibly be.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate all the help that we've gotten. We've put on some really good shows today. Speaking of free enterprise, I mean, this is the end for tonight, but it's not the end, of course, for this tournament. Tomorrow, let's talk real quick. We've got at 11 a.m. Eastern, Infinius versus Eisen, so some work time morning, free end for some of us. Definitely make sure to check that out. So I'm going to name the ones that are restreamed. There are also going to be more that you can find in our Discord. See all the matches that are up. But so that one's at 11 a.m. At 7 p.m. we will have Cecil 2 versus Elven Sorrow on Free Enterprise 2. The first race is on Free Enterprise Prime. This one on Free Enterprise 2. Then we'll have Endoto versus Big Dunka. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise 3, which, by the way, yes, we have a Free Enterprise 3 now because we've got so many races to put on. So definitely, by the way, go over there and give them a follow if you haven't already. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will have Klopfer versus Uber. And that will be back on Free Enterprise Prime. So many shows, y'all. So much to watch.
All right, I think with that we can pretty safely call it an evening. We are going to actually chat mentioning also Midwest Speed Fest tomorrow, where you have Cubs Rule versus Moonblaze Wolf. So that is going to be a lot of fun as well. And so yeah, definitely plenty of free enterprise action, whether it is here.
Right, yeah, that's going to be great.
Yep, and Midwest Speed Fest. So lots of stuff to watch. Frankly, I'm going to be jealous of most of y'all because I will be at work for pretty much all of that. So darn. But y'all have fun tomorrow night, and we are going to go invade Sheep Launcher. So, of course, don't spoil the race or any of the races that y'all have watched today because lots of folks like to go watch it. So no spoils. Otherwise, there will be very heavy hammers that will smack you on the head. So let's go have fun. Let's go all say hi to Sheep Launcher. And yeah, for Solaris as the commentary partner tonight, Neon Gray on Restream, Judge Joe on the tracking, and everybody here at Free Enterprise, thank you all for watching, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Bye now.